It's time to cook with Susan Beck. Today we're going to make chicken fajitas. We're going to make these nice and fast using the broiler portion of our oven today. I am going to use 2 chicken breasts, which is plenty for 4 people. I am going to use an onion, and today I have 1 bell pepper, but if you like bell peppers, 2 are good. With my daughter gone, we don't go through nearly as many bell peppers in our chicken fajitas. I have 2 cloves of garlic. I usually use a fresh jalapeno from my garden, but we're in February right now, so I'm just going to use some jarred jalapeños. We will be seasoning with salt, pepper, and chili powder. Let's take a look at our oven first. For today's recipe, chicken fajitas, we are going to set our dials to broil. When we broil, that is up here in that high 500 range. We're going to get that going now. We also want to be sure that our oven rack is about 4 inches from our heat source. So we will be heating from the top when we broil. I like to get my vegetables ready first because if I use my knife on my chicken and my cutting board on my chicken, then I've got that possible contamination from the chicken. So I'm going to set my chicken breast aside for a little bit and cut my vegetables first so that I can use the same cutting board, same knife, not do dishes in between, and so on. So I'm just going to clean out the inside of that. You know, I never even mind using the tops of my peppers. My favorite way to make this is with 1 red and 1 yellow pepper. Green ones are fine as well, although I don't think they're quite as sweet, so I prefer the orange, the yellow, the red ones. So I am just cutting them into nice little strips here, maybe like a 1/2 inch wide. And after I've cut those peppers, I'm just going to lay them on a piece of tin foil. This makes for very easy cleanup when you go to cook them. Any juices and things will not burn onto my cookie sheet. So next I'm going to slice up the onion. And again, I'm just going to leave those in long pieces. Fajitas usually are kind of served that way. You can decide how much you think your family will go through. So just some thin slices here. Alright, and then I'm just going to pull them apart in their rings here and use them just like that. So just some, again, like 1/2 inch slices, and put those onto my tin foil as well. Next comes the garlic. I'm going to slice up my garlic here, and I'm just going to, again, just slice it as thin as I can. My eyes are starting to water a little bit from that onion. Maybe I should have cut it last. And then just kind of run my knife through it just a little bit more to chop it a bit there. Alright, so it was 2 cloves of garlic onto my onions. And then I usually use 1 jalapeno. So today I will just pull out enough slices. Maybe like 7 or 8 slices would be about equal to 1 jalapeno. So these have all been, kind of pickled and they're softer. Usually I just use those nice fresh ones, which I prefer, but I had these in the fridge today, and I don't tend to buy a whole lot of jalapenos, but boy, at least not the fresh ones, but boy do I like to grow them, and I grow a lot of them in my garden. Alright, so all of this is on my tin foil. I have my onions, my peppers, my garlic, and my jalapenos. We're going to set that all to the side for a little bit and move on to the chicken. Let's get rid of our scraps. I've got a bowl here for my unwanted parts. And I'll find that same thing with my chicken here as I open it up, that I'm going to have some chicken juices down in there that I don't really want. So kind of drain those off as I open my bags. These were chicken breasts from our homegrown chickens that we raised, and then we just packaged the breast separately. They've been in the freezer, so frozen ones would be just fine for this. Just set them out to thaw, put them in the fridge the night before, would work great. Now you have a couple options on this. You could just cook the chicken breast whole and then slice it when you're done, but I prefer to just go ahead and slice it into just like some little chicken tenders to start with. Now again, with chicken, I get that tendon on there sometimes, and I do not really want to keep that tough piece of white tendon. So anytime I find that, I am going to be removing that from my piece of chicken. It can be a little tough to pull away there. Oh, one more thing, I do want a piece of tin foil for my chicken as I cut it. So that's gonna go right onto my cookie sheet because I am going to cook my chicken first. All right. Okay, that piece is pretty much all just that tendon there. So I'm gonna just start cutting through my next chicken breast here. And again, I'm looking for just some nice thin pieces. If they are a little fatter in the middle, running my knife through them again and making two out of it works well. So cutting our chicken. We will be seasoning the chicken with salt and pepper and chili powder. The vegetables I will season with just some salt and pepper. They already have the jalapeños and the garlic with them, so they're going to have a bit of flavor as it is there. All right, there's another one of those tendons that I don't want. All right, on to the other piece of chicken. Slicing through that. Oh, I hit the tendon already there. I know, it's just nicer when you're eating this in a tortilla shell not to have any stringy, tough pieces and to have it already down to just the good part of the chicken breast. I always use chicken breast for this. That's kind of my preferred go-to for fajitas. Another option is you could grill your chicken if you wanted to do that as well. But tonight the broiler will be my main method, and it usually is. Alright, all of those have been sliced, and again I've got all these just nice long tenders. Now I make these a little smaller. If you've watched my actual crispy fried chicken tender video, you will see that these are a little on the smaller side than the chicken pieces I cut in one of my more recent videos. So there are our pieces of chicken. I am going to wash my hands well before I move to the vegetable portion of this and handling my spices. So time to clean. The next step here is to simply sprinkle on some salt, pepper, and chili powder. So on goes a little pepper and some salt. My sister gave me this pink Himalayan salt that I am using today, followed by some chili powder. Oops, this is missing its little like sprinkler thing on the top, so I'm going to be a little bit careful because I don't have that in there today. Whoa, I don't know what happened. And then I'm going to put some olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle that across, and the olive oil will prevent the chicken from sticking to the tin foil, and it will allow the spices to stick to the chicken. So as I look at my chicken, I can see that little bit of rust color from the chili powder on all of these. So these are going to go into the oven, and they really should cook probably in 6-7 minutes. I will toss them once. They'll get white on one side, and I'll flip them over to finish cooking on the other side. So into the oven go our chicken pieces. I'll cook those first and then cook the vegetables. The chicken has been under that broiler heat for about 4 minutes, and as you can see, it's looking quite a bit whiter on the top, but when I flip them over, we will find that they're still quite pink. So by flipping it, remember our heat is coming from the broiler on the top. This will allow the other side of the chicken to finish cooking. So we're going to do another 3 to 4. Now the best way to tell if your chicken is done, besides color, is to slice into a piece and make sure that the juices run clear and that you don't have a lot of bright pink color remaining. These will cook a little bit longer as they sit. I want to keep my chicken warm while I cook my vegetables. So little trick here, just take the tin foil and roll it up around around the chicken so that you just have a little ball of tin foil, and I'm just going to set that into this platter, this bowl that I am going to serve from. And my chicken will stay perfectly fine and warm enough for eating without having to reheat. So moving on to those vegetables next, I'm going to, on these also, I guess I'll do my spices first, give them a little pepper and some salt, as well as the olive oil drizzle that will hold those spices to our vegetables nicely and keep them from burning on the tin foil. Again, that tin foil is just great for easy cleanup. Those jalapeños and garlic and everything is going to roast. I'm going to kind of spread it out into a thin layer. Again, I'm going to toss it at least once. I want them to get a little bit of a charred look. While the vegetables are under the broiler, this is a good time to get your toppings ready for your fajitas. So I have my tortilla shells. I am going to chop some of that lettuce into bite-sized pieces, shred some cheddar cheese. I've got sour cream and salsa. I have like a little shake of cilantro on mine. Some fresh cilantro would be even better again, but it's not summer and not the right season, so I tend to get by with the dried stuff. A little dash of lemon juice or lime juice can be a great touch as well. It's really up to you what you'd like to add. You could put some olives on or something else as well. I'm starting to see a little bit of charring on some of those onions and garlic pieces there. I'm going to go ahead and give this a toss because, again, the things in the middle are going to char the best. And just kind of stir it around a little bit so that everything gets a chance to cook. And I will probably do that one more time. Again, it's going to take probably at least 6, maybe 8 minutes. We do want those vegetables to soften up and get a little charred look. One more preparation piece while my vegetables are cooking are my tortilla shells. If you would like to have these a little bit warm and a little softer, a little more like you might get in a Mexican restaurant, one trick for that is to take some paper towels and just run them under your faucet until they're on the moist side. That one's starting to tear on me. I've got those narrower paper towels. And I am just going to lay one tortilla shell on top of there, and then I will put another paper towel over top of that. Paper towels are kind of sticking together here on me. There we go. And put another tortilla shell on there, followed by another piece of paper toweling, our last tortilla shell, and a piece of paper toweling on there. And then I'm going to just put these into the microwave for like 20 seconds, and it just warms them up, moistens them up. It also might be a way to refresh some tortilla shells that are getting a little bit on the dry side. Starting to get a little more charring on these vegetables. I'm just going to give them one last toss. I can tell my onions are definitely softer. I don't want my onions crunchy. I kind of want that tender crisp on my peppers. Under the broiler for a few more minutes. As with any cooking, tasting is probably the best way to know if your vegetables are how you want them to be. So that pepper still has just the slightest crunch, but for the most part, it is nice and tender and ready for my fajitas. So let me set those down for just a second. I am going to put my chicken into my platter here, dumping it out of the tin foil. I will then add my vegetables to my chicken, and we will have these ready to serve on tortilla shells. Got nice bright colors there. Again, adding in a green or a yellow pepper would add a little more brightness to your meal. All right, I'm going to take one of those tortilla shells, and I really like to have my sour cream on the bottom where I can spread it around on the entire shell, followed by my tongs at a few pieces of chicken. And then I just love the vegetables. I don't know, there's something about when you put vegetables into an oven, it just like brings out a sweetness in them that is just incredible. Add a little lettuce, cheese, some salsa, and we're ready to fold up this tortilla. Let's roll this fajita. So I like to fold one end in, fold the other end in, and then fold in from the sides. Flip it over, and it should sit fairly well. I've got mine plenty stuffed full. I can see that it's going to be bursting at the seams when I try to eat this. All right, it's time for a bite of this chicken fajita. Nice spiciness to the chicken with that chili powder. Love the tang of all the salsa and the jalapeños in there, and I think you will enjoy these very much. Give chicken fajitas a try.